Martins.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Grassroot Chats, episode 13, game day 11 in the English Premier League. And for some reason, these boys are just smiling. I sense an attack coming, huh? AK is looking all good. The weekend started fine with Southampton with a 1-0 win. Armstrong against Villa, possibly responsible for the sacking of Dean Smith. AK47. Hailings to Mr. Thanos DJ, of course, from the Red Crab side, that's doing well and looking wonderful. Aubameyang missed the penalty, but hey, they still had 3 points. And of course, to the happy one who misery loves company, and the last 2 weeks he has been happy. Out and now only looking like he needs to be out. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Yeah, man. Right.
How we doing?
Good.
Oh, good. First of all, we know where we're going to start from. We are going to start with the dominance of Man City at Old Trafford. Very simple. A game where ManUtd made 1 shot on target in the 25th minute. A game where it was pretty much, as Steve called it the last time, it was going to be dead by 1,000 cuts. Steve, I need to hide you somewhere because you jinxed my team. But let us pretty much start. AK, describe what you saw in that game. I mean, there's specific questions I can ask you, but just describe what you saw in that game.
So what I saw in that game was a complete annihilation of United. Like, there was a golfing class between the two sides. And
you say it with so much joy. Why are you smiling so much?
No, I'm smiling because at one point I actually started to feel sorry for United because it felt like City didn't want to score. Like, they were just happy to run the clock. Just pass the ball around, just it's like a training exercise. Don't do too much to hurt yourself. Like, Pep didn't even make any subs at all. So that's how easy the game was for Man City. And obviously, it's not too much. It's not good news for Ole, because obviously, I mean, I don't see how he's going to survive this, because this was in a way even worse than Liverpool's defeat, because you can even see that United were actually content to let the game end 2-0. They didn't want to do anything crazy and then open up and then concede 3, 4, 5. So that's also obviously much more damaging. It depends on how you look at it, compared to the Liverpool game.
Speaking about that, when you say you don't see how Ole can survive this, I mean, the board have come out again to say that there's no decision to be made about Ole. They're pretty much backing him to the end of the season. So before we
on a knife edge.
Before we start talking about knife edges and the board, we'll stick to the game first. I mean, we've spoken about all possible reasons why Ole is this, why Ole is that. But let's not revisit that. But there's certain questions I want to ask. You guys will probably know, because my United fan, I don't understand certain things. I need understanding and clearance and clarity. Mike, apart from the obvious training session Man City had and the past year past them, one of the things I was impressed with was that what he did was he pushed Foden on the left. He pushed what's his name?
Silva.
No. So Foden on the left. He made sure De Bruyne started on the right, and Bernardo Silva was in the middle. So the reason for that was he wanted Silva to do all the tracking and run around in the middle, all the display, and of course De Bruyne to always have that chance to receive the ball in open area, which means Wan-Bissaka, sure, you couldn't go too much because the talent that you have on the wing. So because of that, they were pinned back, and Cancelo and Walker were just enjoying themselves. So now, we've spoken on this show before about 3-5-2. Pep got it right. What would you say?
Well, the difference, squad-wise, Man United have got a good squad, so we know that. But manager-wise, the gulfs apart. So Pep's looked at you guys with your 3-5-2, and he's done it perfectly. He knew how to counteract it, and because you haven't got an elite manager, you didn't know what to do. You just got basically bumped, essentially. So what happened? They kept it wide, so you had the 3 guys in the middle, but you always had 2 against 1, whatever happened. So the fullbacks were bombing on. You don't know whether to go to the fullback or whether to go to the winger who's cutting inside. Wan-Bissaka was left exposed, Shaw left exposed, and just did it time and time again. At some point, Solskjaer's got to say, look, let's go forward at the back. In the same way that Dean Smith, when Arsenal did it to, to Villa, at some point, He said, "Oh, it's not working," and then he changed it to a 4 because it just wasn't working. But it was too late by then. If City wanted to, like AK said, if City could have gone 4, 5, 6 if they really wanted to.
Yeah, in terms of changing formation, though, he did change it by taking Eric Bailly out, which was a very questionable decision to me.
He was saving you that day. He saved you.
Taking Eric Bailly out and then change it to 4 at the back by putting Sancho forward. But Steve, regardless of formations, tactics, whatever, what can you actually blame for that game? Because you can't particularly say, okay, yes, Ole got it wrong, but in terms of play. So I've seen City and Man United play games where Man United lose, but it's never that, the domination was never like that on Saturday. That was just proper spanking.
To me, they gave up before they even took to the pitch. Man United the players didn't have desire. You can talk about formation and all that kind of stuff there, but the players just went running around. They just didn't seem up. Well, they shouldn't have to get up for it, but they just didn't seem at the races like they knew and gave in to City before the ball was kicked. You know what I mean? So how do you address that? I don't see, without a change of, the players are experienced players. They should do that themselves, really. You can't
Are we saying that Ole's lost dressing room then? Because they're running around.
I said that a little while ago. I said it's up to the players what Manchester United achieved this season, because some of Ole's decisions are player favourable. So in terms of someone like Harry Maguire, why he took Bailly off on Saturday, I don't know. But doesn't matter how bad Maguire plays. Like the second goal, there's a lot of talk about Wan-Bissaka didn't press the ball to stop the cross, but you've got England's main centre back and main left back just watching the ball. And all the pundits ignore that and focus on Wan-Bissaka not getting out to the cross and De Gea making a mistake.
All the pundits ignore that, even AK.
But to me, But to me, Maguire and Shaw have to deal with that.
Yeah,
Maguire's an £80 million defender. He's supposed to be one of the best ones for England, and it's just nonsense. So there's excuses going on at Man United, which is why I say that Ole, has he got it in him to be the nasty guy? If he picks the team that he really wants to pick and not keeping people happy, because at half time I wouldn't have taken off Bailly.
No.
If the centre backs I was going to take, I would have taken off Maguire.
Well, first of all, I mean, we have spoken about this, and you guys have already mentioned the fact that he's, there's certain players that he has been playing, and that, he won't take certain players off regardless. Of course, AK give me his pleasurable halftime call just to laugh at me and tell me what he thinks it should be done. So, AK, we've spoken about Solskjaer making loads of mistakes, blah, 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 blah. I mean, this is before that game, Solskjaer actually had more wins over Pep. And he's the first guy to beat Pep with City not actually scoring in 3 games. So you can tell that at some point he knew exactly what to play and how to play against City. So now, as I said, we've spoken about Solskjaer's shortcomings, tactical, blah, 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 whatever. What should Solskjaer do? Let's not talk about what he hasn't done. What should he do? AK, I'll start with you because you are in big favor of 3-5-2. So what do you think he should do?
So it's not too much to do with formation. Yes, 3-5-2 is a good way to play, but then when you're playing 3-5-2, remember what I said earlier in the previous episodes, you need attacking fullbacks. So you're supposed to play 3-5-2 with the right personnel. Wan-Bissaka should never play as a wing back in a 3-5-2. These are some of the tough decisions Ole has to make. He's got Telles who can cross the ball better than Luke Shaw. Again, he's more attacking than Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw is very good defensively, so you can as well make him a left centre back. One of the things I think Ole does wrong, and I think he should do next, is he needs to start to send strong messages to his players. In the game against Atalanta in the Champions League midweek, right? Yes, Ronaldo scored the 2 goals and bailed United out. But really, the man of the match was actually Bailly, right? Most people agree with that. 100%. Now Yeah, now he plays against Man City. He scores an own goal. Unfortunate own goal. Like anybody can score an own goal.
Some of the pundits did say that they're not surprised because he's very erratic.
Yeah, but well, what would you say about Maguire?
Erratic means that he has a reaction. Maguire, I can't even put the word erratic on him because the guy don't react.
He doesn't move.
He don't react, yeah.
He doesn't react at all. So now, like a strong manager, an elite manager would have said, just to send a strong message, just have time, take off your captain. Your captain will immediately get the message, oh, I've been playing poorly for a long time now. So it makes sense for me to go and sit on the bench. But when you take Bailly out, he's going to be thinking to himself, well, I was just literally the best player the last game, and I've just got an own goal. Unlucky. Like, it's like you're just making me a scapegoat all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't play this. He plays certain type of players all the time. He's never going to play Van der Beek. He's never going to play Bailly, Teles, Dalo, all these players. He'll never play them. So, and the guys he's playing all the time are not turning up. So he has a serious problem. Until he solves that favoritism issue and start to try new things, play different players in the right positions. I still think Ronaldo and Cavani, when fit, should be the two top strikers up front.
I mean, Cavani didn't even make the squad on Saturday. He was injured. So understandable. However, Mike, when you go and watch other teams, regardless of where they are in the table, there's one thing that most teams have: an identity. ManUtd this season, no identity. Last season, we knew counter-attacking football, play this, play that. What is it? This lack of identity. One of the things that is it that Ole has failed to say, you know what? This is what we identify as. And is it simply because now that he has the best possible team, so Ole finished 6th, 3rd, and 2nd, which has shown that improvement over the years. But now with this squad, is it lack of an identity that's the issue? Is it that he cannot find what will work for the system that will work for this particular team?
Well, I think he doesn't really know what he wants to play, or he's scared to play how he wants to play. So, for example, if he wants to play counter-attacking football, and you've got people like Ronaldo, Fernandes, and Pogba and all those guys, they're going to have his head, just like they did at Tottenham. Oh, you've got all these star players and you're playing counter-attacking football. So it's either that he doesn't know what he wants to play, or like I say, he's scared to play what he really wants to do, because he doesn't know how to get the best out of the players. It's just like he's just got too many options. And some of those people have to start for some reason. Like Maguire have to start. I don't understand why he needs to be dropped if he's not playing well. But he'll keep playing him no matter what. It's like when Arteta was playing Willian for like donkey's years when he was in performance, kept playing him until eventually he changed it. And he's not giving any other players a chance. So these guys, as AK said, are not performing. So now and again, change one or two players to see if you can get a reaction, and also to show these guys that they're not given starters. But it all starts with a plan. If he hasn't got a plan, if his plan is just go out and play because you guys are really top players, then the result is going to be dependent on whether those guys turn up on the day, really. Because 3-5-2 against another team will work, but I mean,
what he should have done is he had his identity in playing counter-attacking football, and he should have stuck with that. But what happened is he got gassed because the signings that they made. So he felt that he had to change it. He didn't have to change it. He could have stayed with what he was doing until the players, how can I say, built confidence. And the ones that came in adapted to his way, and then you can try and change it. But just because you've got some signings, you don't just change it like that. Because you're sacrificing everything for the sake of one or two.
But isn't it a little bit like the same with Arteta? In as much as when he first came, he was solid, counter-attacking, blah, blah, blah. He got some results. Then the next season, he thought, okay, let me try and play like Man City without Man City players.
Yeah, but Arteta's one's a bit different because Ole's been there longer. He started 6th, finished 3rd, finished 2nd.
He didn't start the season when he...
But wait, hold on.
He didn't finish
this second. This second that they scored, that they had in that weird COVID year, is that what's making you feel like it's progress? That was like abnormally of a year.
No. But whether it is, he's finished 2nd in the league, right? He's got some funds. He's got some Sancho, Ronaldo's coming. Varane. But there's more pressure on him now because his rivals have strengthened probably better than he has. So there's a danger that he spends money, gets top quality players in, but finishes lower in the league. So he feels that now he has to change it and play this different type of football because of who he signed. He can't play counter-attacking football.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. If it's what you had success on last season, build on that.
That's what I'm saying. But there's no point buying a Ferrari if you can't drive, is it? So he's bought these players that he can't use because they don't play the system.
But the players that he bought, he can still play the counter-attacking football. He bought Varane to improve his defense. The Varane is the best defender they have, right? The problems he's got in defense is not making the tough decision. Harry Maguire is not performing. I'll give you an example. If Jordan Henderson is in the middle of Liverpool's midfield and he's not performing, right, and there's other players better than him, do you think he will go to Klopp and say, listen, boss, I'm not playing? Whatever excuse they want to make into the press or to the selection, but he won't start. Harry Maguire is not going to, I don't think he's going to do that. His form is that bad to say, I need to take a step back.
No one's going to do that.
Other people to that. There's other players will do that.
Some players
will do that.
First of all, in terms of some players might do it, but him being the captain and all that, and
that's why I gave the example of Jordan Henderson.
Him pulling that card. See, but the thing is with certain players is, at the end of the day, as you say, you should know, as the manager, you should know when to manage his players. Now, I like the fact that you brought Johnny Henderson, because one of the questions I wanted to ask next was, is it a case of, so sometimes when you have players and then you go, there's a particular system I want to implement, and then you look at a player, you might say, okay, Wan-Bissaka and Dalot, for example, AK is 100% certain Dalot is way better in terms of attacking than Wan-Bissaka. So is it a case that Solskjaer possibly has a system in his head, but for some reason, instead of playing players that fit that system, he's just playing players he thinks is better at playing that system? So for example, if you look at Mancini or Mancini for Italy, he picks players. He doesn't care about your form. He's picking players, or even if it's Serie B, as long as they fit his style.
Yeah, but that's a tournament, and the weight of.
But if Solskjaer wants to play a particular style of football, don't you still need to pick the players that you played, right?
It goes back to this DNA of the club thing that lots of clubs talk about. It's ManUtd. So you guys play in a certain way, cavalier football and stuff. So when you didn't have as good players, you could get away with, we're rebuilding, let's play counter-attacking football, get the results. But now you've got almost more or less your full squad, barring your midfield. I think personally he doesn't think he can play that dire counter-attacking football, because people will just be like, well, we're ManUtd, we've got the best player in the world, and we're just parking the bus.
Yeah, but then I think it would be actually very poor to think. So we do have arguably one of the best players in the world at the moment, and it's arguable now because obviously his age at the time, and you have a system where counter-attacking football has been working for you. And when you look at the players you have, the question is simple. Even if you want to change from counter-attacking football, why don't you change the formation that will suit the players you have? Counter-attacking,
which is what?
That's why as a manager, I have ideas of what I think should work, and especially if you want to play Ronaldo.
3-5-2 should work.
It should, but it's not working.
Well,
there's no playing it the right way.
But wait, hold on. You played it twice, yeah? More than I can remember.
I played it more than twice.
But since you got that spanking, you played it twice, yeah?
No, it's not working this season. Let me give you. I give it a good example. So when it comes to counter-attacking football, ManUtd still didn't play 3-5-2 last season.
Yeah,
so
okay.
We always played 4-3-3.
Okay, but you played 3-5-2 against what? Tottenham, yeah, and Man City. Man City, I'm not sure what formation you'd have played that you would have lost anyway.
No, but the thing is, even if you're not sure what formation you play, you stick to the formation that has worked before.
But you just beat Tottenham playing 3-5-2. Because
it's suited playing Tottenham. It doesn't mean it suit playing Man City.
And Tottenham are a very poor side.
But then that goes down to the manager then, doesn't it?
Really? That's exactly what we're saying here. So the question I'm asking is, I mean, people get carried away by, let's play a particular formation. I mean, if you look at Benitez now, beginning of the season, everything was compact, doing what they needed to do, had certain players. Certain players now got injured. They've lost, they drew against Tottenham over the weekend. They lost their last 2 games. Now the question is, there were some players out. So as the manager, obviously, the players even if players are injured, the players are there are not suiting the formation, so you change it. With Solskjaer, you had beaten this guy 3 times in a row. He hadn't scored a goal, and you played the same 4-3-3. So why get carried away? Which of course is something we can question him as a manager. Why get carried away because you beat Tottenham, who's a weak, very weak team now? At least they're not in form. Blah 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 blah. Why go back and all of a sudden just say, oh yeah, let's just play 3-5-2, it works?
So for me, it still goes down to the basics, right? So we had this conversation, if you remember, halftime when United were already 2 goals down. I used KDB, De Bruyne, as a reference. This season has been a bit underwhelming, right? So his form has been called into question a few times. I think the last 3 or 4 games, he didn't even start for Man City. Like Pep has kind of been soft benching him, right? So elite managers have a way to bench star players and then reintroduce them back into the team. So I'm not benching you because you're not shit, you're no longer good anymore. Maybe you just need to kind of, you need to re-energize, you need to.
Yeah, I mean,
but the thing is, they just bench
so
it.
Maguire needs to be taken out of the firing line.
Okay, do you agree with Gary Neville saying that he feels Shaw and Maguire haven't recovered from the Euros?
What? Is that what he said?
To me,
they need to be benched.
To me, that's just an excuse because there's other players that went to the Euros and played in the same team and are playing fine. Yeah, at the end of the day, again, it's making an excuse. They need to drop them because they're not playing well. Simple as that.
I mean, but
Gareth Southgate shouldn't be picking them for England because they're not playing well. There's other men that are playing better than them now, and again is a statement in itself. Mate, you need to start your club form and then bring yourself back.
Yeah, but based on what AK is saying is that so De Bruyne had a busy last season, went to the Euros.
Mm-hmm.
He got injured, rushed back just so he could play Euros. He played Euros well, but as the season started, Pep has introduced him slowly, sub here, come in, play here, sub here, come in, play here. And of course, on Saturday against ManUtd, Stella, usual, crosses everything. I mean, you started him in a game, probably the big look out there, be big game. So it all comes back to managerial again. How do you manage these players? How do you get the best out of them? And Solskjaer is trying to get the best out of certain players in ways that is very stop-start. There's no identity. As AK says, Eric Bayer was the best against Atalanta. And then this is a guy that has been fit. So initially you have said, oh, his injuries are the ones that kills him. But then he has been fit and you're playing an unfit Maguire. But once again, we can go round and round in circles. My next question is simple. And I start with Mike. What does the board see in Solskjaer that is making them stick to him? Because you stick to certain managers based on, the future is bright, the results are wonderful, or he just needs some time. So what exactly, because he doesn't qualify for any of those 3 questions I've asked. So what do you think the board sees in him?
I think that it's a political appointment and he's the lesser of 2 evils, whatever that other person is. So I think they'll just bide their time. It's not as if you guys are getting relegated. So they'll just bide their time. If things get proper peak and then you're out of Europe, they might do something about it. But other than that, they're looking at the long term. So, they really want it to work. It's a political appointment, really, to be honest.
So do you think I get to a point that he might actually be sacked before the end of the season?
But the way you're playing, you're up and down. I think when you've got nothing left to play for and there's no chance to get into Europe, then yeah, maybe they might do that. But then what's the point? Because it's not as if you're getting relegated. Finish eighth.
What do you think, Steve? Why do you think the board has just decided, we're sticking with this guy?
At the moment, the board's scared to make a decision. As Mike said, he's a popular appointment and he's come in, and until his he hangs himself. So in terms of Man United are so far down the league that they can't finish top 4. They're knocked out of Champions League, and then he's kind of like hung himself, and then they can say, all right, we're making a decision for the next season. But if they're going to pull the trigger now, I don't think they have someone lined up. They'll have to go and poach someone. That'll be a bit, how can I say, acrimonious. It may not be easy. So it's easier to leave Solskjaer in place because the expectation is that Man United won't win the league this season. If they're finishing outside top 4, that's a different argument, because I think the expectation will be that they'll be finishing fourth behind Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. They're the fourth strongest side. That's what the expectation is. But if they're falling way off that, behind teams like West Ham, Arsenal, like stuff like that, then the board might pull the trigger. But that will not be until March, April.
Yeah, it's far away.
What do you think, AK? Why do you think the board is sticking with this guy?
So obviously they've had the experience of working with LVG, who is obviously very vocal. Maybe challenged the board a few times here and there. And then came Mourinho, who is obviously needs no introduction. Mourinho is very.
He definitely needs an introduction. Roma's been spanked.
Yeah, but both of those managers are not at their peak anymore. So they were getting once elite managers.
I agree, but they're still world class in many ways. Their CV is very intimidating. But the thing is, the board probably they don't want to hire someone who's probably going to be telling them, oh, I think we should be going in this direction, or challenge them, or maybe say one or two things in the press. Solskjaer, to be fair to him, has been very good. He speaks very well. He's polite.
He's a company man.
Yeah, he's a yes sir guy. He's always backing the owners, saying good things. He's a good ambassador for the club. So that's why they see him as a right fit for this job.
Yeah, but the question I have though is the board has to kind of look at themselves, because at the end of the day, his managerial experience before he came to Man United, he was only ever gonna
Mulder won the league with Mulder, was relegated to Cardiff, and then that was it pretty much.
Yeah, so he's gonna come into Man United. Yes, he's gonna improve the mood, but in terms of making them challenge the likes of City, Liverpool, and Chelsea for the league, to me, that's a very tall order, very hard asked for him.
But hold on,
especially with the pressure of Man United.
Here's the thing: he had more experience than bloody Arteta. Arteta had zero experience. Yeah,
but Arteta's approach has been completely different. Is that they've gone really young and said they're building for the future, so they're trying to build the team. What Ole's actually bringing in established stars. Yeah, so everyone expects them to hit the ground running. As soon as they sign Ronaldo, as soon as they finished second last season, they signed Ronaldo, Varane, and Sancho. Everyone automatically thinks, boy, we're challenging for the league. Yeah, that wasn't the case. Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea strengthened better than Man United. They got exactly.
Did they Liverpool bought one person?
Oh, sorry. Maybe not Liverpool.
Man City bought one player.
But what did they need?
Only one player.
What did they need?
So
what did they? I'm saying, what did they need? Man United needed a central midfield. They didn't buy one. They didn't buy one.
But City need a striker.
They've got Pogba, your best player.
City don't need a striker. We're all saying that, but City don't need a striker.
No, see, first of all, I'll tell you, here's another thing. So, in terms of strength of depth and things, bearing in mind that if teams are buying players they don't need, and Man United finished second with a weaker team last season, then it's understandable.
But it was a fluke last season. Let's be honest. Last season was
I don't understand why you keep saying it's a fluke. Why didn't you use fluke and not finish eighth?
No, but hold on. We finished eighth. No, hold on, but we finished eighth twice, so that's not a fluke.
Oh, okay. So consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah, but you went from fifth to second, and then you're talking.
No, we went from sixth, third, and second. So it's not like we just jumped and it's a fluke. Sixth, third, so you're showing progression.
It's a fluke, isn't it?
No.
But Man United bought players, but you could say arguably two of them they didn't need.
Well, why did you buy Sancho for? That makes sense.
No, that's what I'm saying. They needed a centre back. Yeah, Varane, they got centre back. Their next position where they're crying out for someone, and everyone was talking about it last season, was central midfield. They needed to sort out the centre of midfield. Fred and McTominay were not good enough, but they didn't buy anyone.
You should have bought Xhaka.
They didn't buy anyone, but
50 mil.
They got Ronaldo, they got Sancho. But what I'm trying to say is the other teams looked at what they needed and strengthened and got what they needed.
Yeah, but you keep saying that though. But Man City did. Let's be honest. They don't need Grealish. What? If Man City had a striker again,
but he's a long-term replacement for.
I have one question.
Yeah.
So, is the best midfielder in the world not playing for Man United, or am I missing something?
Who's the best midfielder?
Who's the best midfielder?
No, but hold on. There are different types of midfielder.
He's not playing as a midfielder.
That's how you know.
Is he playing as a right back? No.
No. But you're not playing.
This is how. Hold on. This is how you know. This is how you know the AKs and the Graham Souness. The man didn't even play. And you're still attacking him. The man hasn't played for 2 games, and you're still attacking him.
And another thing with Man United, they got too many of these players that you could actually build the side around. You build the side to benefit Ronaldo, or you could build the side to benefit Bruno Fernandes, or you can build the side to benefit Paul Pogba, but they're doing none of them. Well, so they're just caught in limbo to me. And they got £17 million worth of Jordan Sancho sitting on the bench doing jack.
Well, there you have it. So you have it's been 11 games in the Premier League.
Well, we can't talk though. We've got Pepe on the bench, so 2 million. So what are we talking about?
Yeah, but you're still ahead.
He wasn't bought by our manager.
Yeah,
well, we've had 11 games in the Premier League and we've had 5 sackings. Newcastle, Steve Bruce. Watford got rid of Cisco Munez. Norwich after finally winning a game, got rid of Daniel Fark, which I don't understand what the logic was. Tottenham got rid of Mike's very good friend, Nuno Espirito Santo. And of course, Villa, after AK's team gave them a good game, got rid of Dean Smith after losing 5 games straight. And for some reason, Ole is still on the wheel. So
Ole in. Give him the time.
There's definitely something the board sees that we don't. But then speaking about new managerial appointments, Newcastle have just appointed Eddie Howe to take over as the manager. Now that appointment I see, did Newcastle end up going down the route that Tottenham did where you want certain managers and you just couldn't get them, and then finally you say, you know what, Eddie Howe is available, let's do it. Eddie Howe will have one job, in my opinion, and just keep us
in relegation,
and then see what happens. Simple question, boys. Mike,
yeah,
how keep them in the league?
Well, they're not going to get an elite manager while they're fighting relegation, and they haven't got players anyway. So
does he keep them in the league? Is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think he will. Boy, I don't know. Their players are a little bit dead, you know.
Yeah.
Boy.
Why you have a think? AK, does he keep them in the league?
It's a difficult one. So I like Eddie Howe.
As a thinker.
I like Eddie Howe. He plays fantastic attacking football, but that's not what Newcastle need at this point in time. They probably need a pragmatic coach like Allardyce. Thank you very much. You know, just to get the line.
I mean, Allardyce has been there before. Just
Warnock,
so that you know.
Warnock. Yeah, I know. I remember.
Warnock.
Just like how Moyes has been to Westham before as well. But they need
two different comparisons.
Different comparison. Eddie Howe might try to go there, and obviously he likes to play like good attacking football and still get relegated. But it might all change depending on who they buy in January, actually. So if they give him 100 million to go and buy some good, decent players,
it'll be too late by then if they keep losing from now to then.
From now to January, you have 8 more games. In the months, it seems like it's not far. But the amount of games, Newcastle is currently 19th with 5 points after 11 games played. They are, what's it called? So 17th is Watford with 10 points. Burnley has 8 points. Newcastle, 5 points. And Norwich has 5 points. Now, can Newcastle go on a run and, things will happen? But the key question now is, from now till 100 million is given. And let's not forget, it's not like 100. How many players can you attract to come and fight a relegation battle and keep you up?
I think his best approach would be to try and get players in on loan for the rest of the season, because people want to go to the World Cup and expose themselves. So try and get some good bargains that way. He's got a chance to keep them up, because he might provide the bounce. Well, he will provide a bounce in terms of some hearing a different voice, slightly different approach, a different approach to playing. So the players might get a lift, especially the going forward ones.
I like it how nobody has actually said yes or no. I mean,
no, I said it. I
think after we had 19 episodes in season 1 of Grassroot Chats, and we've had 13 episodes, and it's the first time Mike will answer a question.
I think you'll keep them up. I think you'll keep them up.
Oh, you think he keeps them up?
Because their problem is going forward, isn't it? They can see, but they don't do jack going forward, and their decision making going forward is really crazy. Because I don't know if you saw the game that they played the weekend where the goalkeeper changed. Goalkeeper got sent off.
Yeah,
Dunk went in goal. And I don't know why John Shelby didn't shoot.
Confidence.
He had the free kick. Just shoot. But he just chipped it up and it went nowhere. But yeah, their mentality, they've got no confidence. Hopefully Eddie Howe comes in for them and changes it, innit? Otherwise, the new owners, if they get relegated, they've got a massive problem.
I think we're underestimating. Are we underestimating the amount of work Eddie Howe actually has? You have to come. First of all, he has come in just before an international. Okay, yes, there is a possibility. Not many Newcastle players will go for international, but
that's good news.
Then you probably have about 2 weeks to try and get a system. Bearing in mind, you have to raise confidence. You have to make sure that this system works. You have to start winning games. I mean, if you look at Newcastle's games from 2nd of October, it's been they lost to Wolves, they lost to Tottenham, they drew with Crystal Palace, they lost to Chelsea, and now they drew with Brighton.
But the fact that they've actually got someone in now, it kind of like removes all that uncertainty in it, because for weeks, everyone, since the takeovers happened, Steve Bruce is gone. That's everyone's been thinking that. So the players think that as well. A new manager's come in. The fact that now it's actually put to bed and they've got a new manager, they know who they're playing for. Now they might just follow instruction. It's like you're at work yourself. You know your boss is leaving. You know a new guy's coming in. Don't know who he is, but this guy tells me something. I'm not going to listen to him, am I?
Well, where do you think I work?
I'm not talking about myself, but I'm just talking about the majority of people.
No,
people blatantly won't listen. No, people won't listen, mate. Simple.
I mean,
human nature.
Well, if you think that, though, but then looking up in terms of, I know different boards operate, different clubs operate differently. There seems to be a very trigger process when it comes to different boards, when it comes to so-called smaller teams. So they seem very, okay, look, this is not working, get rid of this guy. I mean, Dean Smith he brought Villa up, kept them up, even if it was just a point away. They had a very wonderful season. And then they had good recruitment this summer. First of all, 2 questions. Do this so-called middle team managers, do they get carried away when they actually get money? Do they get confused as in, oh my God, I'm spending? And yes, they haven't won 5 games, but was it too soon to sack Dean Smith? AK.
I can see the sense in sacking him. The way the smaller teams think is a bit different from like the likes of United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City, and maybe even Tottenham. So they're thinking.
You went wrong there. You went wrong when you.
I said maybe. Tottenham. So the thing is, the directors or the owners of Villa, they're thinking of, if I go down, I'll lose £60 million from the TV money.
After
they don't want
11 games, though.
No, they've lost 5. They've seen the pattern. So you made a good point where like they barely survived relegation.
Yeah,
so
and then last season
they never really had confidence in the Smith per se.
No, but that was their first season back, and then last season they finished in the top half.
Yeah, but that's because obviously it was a COVID season, just like Mike mentioned. We can't really put so much. It's true. Like there were no fans in the stadium, loads of things happened. But even at that, even in the COVID season, there was a time they went on a really bad run. I think it was the second half of the season or something, where they were like literally like on a relegation kind of form. So the board have looked at it. Okay, this guy, he's shown before like he can go on a serious bad run, and we can't afford to make mistakes. We don't want to go to the championship for any reason. So we might as well just make this decision now. And sacking managers is obviously an easier decision than maybe buying players because it's just one person, right? So back to the point about middle club managers not knowing how to manage money. I think it's more of when you're used to playing with average players, you're playing for results. It's kind of different when you're not coaching a proper talent. right? So now he's gone to the market with 100 million from Grealish, right? He's gone to buy the Norwich star. I can't remember his name again. Yeah. Then he's bought Bailey, very, very talented winger. Ashley Young came back from Inter Milan. He's got some decent players. Danny Ings, obviously from Southampton and everything. So now, obviously, we've got some really talented players in the squad. So trying to fit them in, sometimes this is now what actually separates the elite managers and the normal managers. Sometimes this, middle table managers struggle to kind of, make everything to gel together. So I think that's why they go.
So were Villa just heavily reliant on Grealish?
Yes, it was the system. I think the system favored. So the role Grealish played for them was very simple. They just played to his strength. So have an average team, 1-star player, it works most of the time. But now when you take out that star player and bring 4 very good players, now the dynamics of the team has changed.
I think the Villa board have been a bit unfair to him, really, because it's been a big upheaval in the club. You've lost your star player. You bring in some other players, and you have to get them to gel and play a certain way. He's going to have to change the style of play, and expecting him to do that in 11 games. So he lost his number 2. John Terry left. It's a big ask for him to do it in such a short space of time. He's not one of the elite managers. So yeah, I think it's a bit too early on that one, but I can understand that they're panicking and don't want to get relegated. But then on the bad side of it is then if you're going to make that decision about Dean Smith, where is the replacement? Replacement should be lined up already. If you're running your business properly, you should be saying, I'm getting rid of Dean Smith, but I have identified who's going to take over. These people, they're millionaires and stuff and run big business, but it's like a bloody...
Yeah, but it's international break, isn't it? So they got time.
Yeah, but even though for the uncertainty of the club, you've got rid of someone, make it look like you know where you're going. You've got rid of someone because you've got this person lined up. At the moment, it's going to look like they're just going out there trying to call, man. Are you free? Are you free? Are you free to come manage? So whoever they bring in, it doesn't look like it's a plan. It looks like they just flick the coin or put their hand in a bigger mix.
I hope they call us on Grassroots. Just say, what do you guys think to run Villa? I'll do
it. Yeah, that's right. You number 2.
Cool.
They have to pay consultancy fee, right?
We'll just shake up the pick and mix bag and take it out. Whatever one you get, that's the manager. It's nonsense.
Well, what do you think? What do you think, Mike? Too soon? Should I give him more time?
No, I think Villa is not your average middle team or whatever we're calling them. I think because they've got a bit more. Their owners spend more money, I think, to be honest. So I think they've got aspirations above just staying in the league. To be honest, they want to finish somewhere in the league. Whereas mid-table teams just want to be in the league, and if they get a good cup run, so be it. But Villa actually want to achieve something and go somewhere. They have a design and a plan. So it's all of what the boys have said in terms of they don't want to get relegated, but also I think it's more like the expectation that he wasn't meeting expectations, because really any other mid-table team could suffer it. It's only 11 games. I mean,
yeah, but what that's true. I was going to ask you, what do you think the expectations would have been after just 11 games?
Not to be there, obviously. That's why he's gone, isn't it?
Where are they now? About 16th.
They are 16th, and they are same points as Watford.
And also, if you look at it, the performances weren't good. If you lose, you can go on a losing streak. We all know that happens in football. But the performances, it didn't look like he was going to get better. So it didn't look like he knew how to get out of it. It wasn't like they were getting unlucky. Do you know what I mean? It was just poor.
It'll be interesting to see who they get in next.
It'll be actually very interesting to see. I mean, there is talk of Steven Gerrard and Roberto Martinez. So, but we shall see how that
Thierry Henry.
Titi Henry. Maybe you come in and do as good as Vieira is doing for Crystal Palace. But looking at the situation and with the manager's musical chairs and swap, a manager that is doing really well and his team is looking wonderful is David Moyes, and Westham is looking amazing. I mean, they don't even have the voodoo of when you play on Thursday and come back and just your players are tired. They played against Liverpool 1-3-1. And before we talk about things that happened in that game,
3-2.
3-2, sorry. Sorry, I was trying to take, the goal difference since they hammered us a couple of weeks ago. But when you look at David Moyes had the first spell in Westham, he kept them up, but then the fans started complaining about the style of football. Him and the club parted ways, blah, 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 blah. They tried other things since then. He has come back and now he's making them look like, they finished 5th last season. They had Jesse Lingard to spice up things. Now there's no Jesse Lingard, but every single player in the West Ham team they've just stepped up their game. So that time, the time that he's establishing now, and his bad spell he had at ManUtd, he went to Spain. Has David Moyes revamped his game, or is it that he came to a team that had very wonderful players and he was like, you know what, I can use these players to change my style of football? Is it a case of the man has adapted his ways, or he has just been given enough time? Mike?
I think it's a bit of both. The owners seem to have confidence in him. The players believe in him, so they're a real unit. So when that happens in a team or any sort of group, then normally good things happen. So they're on a roll. Once they start getting results, the players have bought into it big time. And as they say in football, they'll run through brick walls for him. So panning out really well. Let's see what happens if they have a dip or two, if that holds together. But at the moment, it looks like he's got a good solid unit there, and the only way is up, to be honest, for them.
It looks like he has continued the performances from last season, and they've been doing. They had a few shaky performances at the beginning of the season. But Steve, you've been nodding your head, and you think are you going to trade teams, Steve? You look like you're enjoying what David Moyes is doing.
I'm enjoying what David Moyes is doing. I think he's learned not to be so rash when he goes into a club. Actually look at it, see what's going on, and then just build on what's there already. I think before he would have, especially when like ManUtd, it was clear the decks. This is David Moyes' house.
He did well the first spell at West Ham as well.
Yeah, but I just think that his approach now is a bit more, you say mature. He's seen a lot more in football. He looks at what's the really good bits and what he can build on, and then just adds the little touches that he needs to. He's a good manager. And yeah, I see him continuing on with what's going on good at West Ham. I think the biggest threat to them is if ManUtd decide to give him a second chance.
Nah, that's not gonna happen.
Why not?
That's not gonna happen. Well,
why not?
There's no way that's gonna happen.
Why not?
There's no way that's gonna happen.
He's probably one of the easier replacements for Solskjaer. If you're gonna make the decision in the middle of the season or now, it will be Moyes is a good candidate because he's been there before.
Yeah,
right? He knows the league.
You're most likely to go back to a job that you did well before. So
no, he's still got a point to prove.
And that's why David Moyes could go back to West Ham after being let go the first time, because when he was there the first time, he actually did well.
Well, I think we have the same issue as he had the first time. The egos were there, and he couldn't, or they weren't alive to manage them properly, and then they got trigger happy. I don't think it's not like he's won anything. He's done well for West Ham, but I'm talking about.
When you look at this now, so he made a statement about, I think he made a statement last season, that the only difference between him and Solskjaer is time. And Solskjaer has been given time. And you're right, David Moyes hasn't won anything, but before the trigger happiness started, he completely lost the dressing room. He
made too many changes.
The players were actually literally complaining that this guy.
Wait, but isn't that what we're saying that Ole should be doing? So if he goes back and does that, make changes and all that.
No. He walked in and he changed the whole backroom staff, and he brought them from Everton. You've just won. You've got the backroom staff who've just won a league, right? Who knows how the club works. He came in, he cleared them all out, and brought in man from Everton who have not even got to a semi-final of a cup or something. They don't know what to do.
But if he went to ManUtd, he'd do that again. In fact, managers always do that. I don't know if he will be as rash.
When he went to ManUtd, he was advised by Fergie, don't rush the changes, because the things that happen here is working. But he changed everything. So yes, you bring in your own backroom staff, but he changed training. He changed in terms of managing players. Typical example. I remember Rio Ferdinand saying the players didn't know who was playing a game till the morning of the game.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
So, what's wrong with that? Really?
He changed the food as well.
That's not the way they work.
Yeah.
It's different if you're coming into a side that's fighting relegation. Yeah, but they just won the league.
So if Conte or had come in, you don't think he'd change everything? You think he's going to keep everybody around?
You can change everything if you want, but then if it doesn't work,
don't be surprised.
Yeah, I know. But okay, so the proof is in the pudding. But the methodology is the same for almost every manager. The manager's going to go in there and say, "Let me keep everybody." You're not going to do that.
And the difference at the end of the day is
it's results. That's it.
Thank you, but the results did not come from the changes.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that he shouldn't have made the changes.
So
it clearly does mean that he shouldn't have made the changes.
Because he got sacked.
You changed from what was working before to, and as he said, if it was a team that hadn't won anything and you make the changes, that's fine.
So,
but you just won the league.
So what manager?
Working.
So what manager does that then? What manager goes into a team and doesn't bring their own stuff and change stuff and try to build that team in their own image?
Not every manager change. You don't change everyone. You may bring on 1 or 2.
The question is how many managers go to a winning side? And so you go, how many managers actually go to a winning side? I mean, for example, when you had Galacticos or something, or when you had Barcelona, everybody knows how Barcelona plays. Or when they changed from Pep to what's his name, the manager is late now.
Enrique.
No, not Enrique. You know so when Pep left and his number 2 took over.
Valverde. Is it Valverde?
Villanova.
Yes, Villanova.
No, yeah.
What did Villanova change? He didn't change anything.
Okay, and before him?
Before Pep.
Before him. They've changed managers loads of times.
Mike, what's your point? Because I've just told you that at the end of the day, you can.
My point is, you're talking. Let me tell you my point. If you stop talking, flapping your gums a minute, I'll tell you.
Tell me your point.
Yeah.
Because your point doesn't make any sense. But I've just told you.
There's no point. There's no point telling you my point if it don't make any sense.
So my take on
it doesn't make any.
There's no point in telling you.
You're making the same point over and over again.
My take on Moyes, right? My take on Moyes is this. I think nothing has changed actually from his style of playing. His style of playing is still the same. Like they rely a lot on counter. They defend deep. It's still defensive. It's obviously giving him the results. The only thing that has changed between like this Westham team and maybe the Everton team is he actually has really, really good international players.
Well, between Westham and Everton.
No, this Westham team is really good.
Like, no, I get that. There's no change between the Westham and the Everton.
No, the style is the same. Okay. The only thing that's changed is he's managed to convince really good players like the Bowens, the good players he has in Westham, to actually defend deep and counter.
Did Everton? I'm trying to remember. Did Everton actually? What did they play when Moyes was there? Was it counter-attacking football they were playing?
It was defensive. It was counter. Counter might be giving them a compliment. It was rugged, defensive. Keeping it tight, old school football.
But last season,
changed much.
Last season when he played 4-3-3, so he played what? Was it 4-3-3? Lingard, Antonio, Bowen, and then Benarama will come in. Was he still playing counter-attacking football?
It was defensive. They don't hold the ball.
They seem to pass the ball more now, though.
I don't see that
compared to
even in the midfield. Okay, the midfield is very, very strong because they have 2 good tacklers of the ball, Rice and Souček. But even yesterday, I had a feeling if there were 2 more extra minutes, Liverpool would have equalized. What they do is they score first, they start to defend. They attract loads of pressure to themselves. Look at the game against ManUtd was a perfect example. They scored first, but as soon as they score you, they go ultra defensive, invite loads of pressure. Sometimes the game turns on his head. I actually think they have a lot of quality players to actually become, when you score, just become, pass the ball around. Maybe you can score the second goal instead of going down. So he still has that mentality, that Everton mentality that if I score you first, I have to go ultra defensive all the time.
Mm-hmm. In terms,
working.
So when you say he has he has managed to convince good players, I mean Everton. I mean the distance in the years is far though. But when you say he has managed to convince good players, surely if that's the case,
he has better players. These players are better than the players he had at Everton, I think.
Yeah.
He has really good players in this West.
Overall, collectively, they are better.
Okay. Well, David Moyes is doing whatever he's doing, working really well for West Ham. But before we leave David Moyes, here's the question then. Do you think, so West Ham finished 5th last season, and let's say they finish 4th this season. Do you think it's a statement that David Moyes could possibly manage one of the so-called top 4 teams, and the goal will be to win the league? Mike?
Never say never.
That's the second time I've seen Mike go speechless.
I mean, his stock is up, so anything is possible. But I wouldn't say he's nailed on if one of the top 4, 5, 6 teams lose a manager, that he's he's nailed on to go there.
Top contender? No?
No, I don't think top contender, but his name will probably be in the hat, banded about. But he won't be a top contender.
To me, the only one it happens with is Man United, because the position that they're in. So he could come in. The fans will, as AK said, they will accept that style of play to win the title. You can't, but he couldn't follow Pep, Klopp, or Tuchel.
But why would they accept it this time? They didn't accept it the first time. About Man United.
Because Man United's in a completely different situation now. They just won the league. Yeah. So now they will pretty much take anything to believe that they're going somewhere. At the moment,
Julian? Well, at
the moment,
free. I'm in the market if they need me.
Julian, is that true?
Is what true? David Moyes.
That you're desperate enough to accept any football right now, as long as it gives you results.
We're not desperate.
That's what Steve said. I'm just asking the question.
I'm since he's available as well.
We're not desperate.
I don't think it'll be ultra negative because of the personnel he's got at Man United. There will be that defensive element. He would show them up definitely, and going forward, he might just leave the other players to get on and do what they would need to do.
The one thing is, so with teams, and this is with teams generally. So you know how teams always mention the DNAs and what they have had and all that story. Surely before you created this DNA or this style of play, it came from somewhere, and it can change. So Man United, back in the winning days, it was all about talking football, blah, blah. If a manager, and regardless of who it is, comes to win the league and wins it on a counter-attacking style, maybe like Leicester did, surely it could mean that the DNA has changed. So why do fans generally start with, it is not our DNA of football? So say for example, Arsenal under Wenger particularly had a specific way of playing. Pam, 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 they won the league 3 times. So the fans can definitely say, it clearly has worked 3 times. It's not a fluke. It has worked. We went unbeaten at one point, blah, blah, blah. So that's our DNA.
But hold on. Just as you mentioned that, yeah. But the DNA before Wenger was under George Graham when we got success, and it was winning 1-0. It was defensive, win 1-0. Yeah. So to me, the DNA fits exactly. The DNA fits the success period of the team. That's what fans go on. The successful period of the team is what they claim to be their DNA.
Okay, so then what is Tottenham claiming then?
From the 60s. From the 60s.
Yeah. What's your dealers do that?
Before Karim was born.
That's to me. If you look back on it, that's what the clubs claim to be their DNA, was when they were winning.
That makes sense.
So it means that if you have won at any point in time, whatever you used to win then is the DNA that the fans use.
That's what it seems to me, mate.
Okay.
Unless maybe you're Real Madrid that has so much heritage and prestige, and they've said it all. So that's why Capello will win the league with Real Madrid and still get sacked. Twice.
That's a whole different topic.
Yeah.
Another episode. But looking at it though, so we are now at that wonderful point, player and flop of the week. Do I need to say anything this week? I'm wondering. Well, let's start with you, AK. Player and flop of the week.
Flop of the week has to be Luke Shaw. He went to sleep for the second goal. Well, it could have been anybody. It could have been Luke Shaw, Bissaka, Maguire. I mean, somebody from that Man United team had to be the flop of the week. And then the player of the week, Adam Armstrong. It's found his shooting boots finally.
And that is as biased as you can get it. That's as biased as you can get it. Mike?
Flop of the month, really. It's Harry Maguire, man. Let's be honest. Yeah. But anyway, let's just call it the week, innit? And player of the week is my boy, ML Smith Rowe. He's just going from strength to strength. Scored. I think they said he was one of 3 Arsenal players to score 4 under certain age to score 4 goals. And the thing is, he went from not scoring hardly at all.
He joins Reyes, Fabregas, and
bit of a purple patch.
Is it Van Persie? No, Reyes, Fabregas, and
Anelka. I think.
Anelka.
Yeah,
has been under 21 and scoring 3 times.
How did you score 4 in a row?
At a certain age, I think it is.
Oh,
before 21, under 21,
yeah.
under 21.
Yeah. So I mean, he's got strength.
All right, and Steve.
It's going to be Harry Maguire in it, but we need to do it right after the national break, right? Where if we do flop of the week, we can't pick Harry Maguire.
Well, he might flop in the Euros though. He might flop in the international games.
He's gonna.
I mean, the way that guy is going, he would just sit at home and flop.
No, you can't. You're playing Andorra or something. Or something.
What was I gonna say? My other flop of the week, because he had a really bad game. Everything was going wrong for him was Aubameyang.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
He just had a mare. Everything he'd done was just wrong. Just wrong.
That was terrible.
Yeah, touch on the goal that got disallowed. Penalty.
He escaped it though, because at least he was in the winning side.
There you go. But I'm sure he'll come back after the international break. Player of the week. Probably. I was gonna say Bernardo Silva,
Yeah, he was good.
Because he was really good against Man United. He was really good. Him or probably Ainsley Maitland-Niles, because Ainsley Maitland-Niles really impressed me as well against Arsenal.
Steve, why can't you just pick one? Why do you like to tell us it's not a buffet? Pick one guy.
Oh, you see my size. All you can eat, bruv. I'll pick Bernardo Silva. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. My player and flop of the week is not important this week.
No.
We gotta hear it, bro. We gotta hear it. Share your thing.
So, all right. Flop of the week. The red side of Manchester. The entire red side of Manchester. Represented by those 11 that was on the pitch. But if I have to actually pick one player or one person, I'll pick Ole. Because at the end of the day, man.
This guy.
You're supposed to pick a player, right? Not manager.
No, anybody wants.
It could be a player, club, everything.
Flop. And all right, for player of the week, once again, I'm biased, and I definitely cannot give a City player of the week. So player of the week, I would give to.
I'm surprised your flop of the week is not Alisson.
No. That's a good conversation. But I think my player of the week will be ESR. ESR. I mean, it's the consistency, influential impact, and simplicity of the football. Even if I still think he needs to be tested for drugs, but because it just keeps non-stop. But yeah, that's my player. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching and listening. Mr. Thanos, Mike N, AK47, thank you very much. On this note, we would like to put it out there that we, the members of Grassroots Chats, are available for any managerial position out there. And we'll probably manage a team better than certain managers. All right. Good night. God bless.